Regalion Part 12, A Forever Faith for a Better Future. Hello everyone and welcome back once again to Cosy Reads. I hope you've all been keeping well. Thank you for joining me again for another story. In today's story, we'll carry on with the tale of Regalion. As the duo manage to escape from the facility, they catch a train, using it to head to their next destination. This small reprieve will provide some comfort, but for how long? Only time will tell. And I know it has been a long time since I last uploaded, but I'm back to working on this channel again, so stick with me as we dive into tales of fantasy and adventure. As the pitch black smoke enveloped the sky, a train pulled up, and two familiar faces proceeded to board the mechanical steam engine. They walked along the train with tickets in their back pockets, looking like they'd just come from a war zone. Passengers in first class scoffed as the two walked past them, assuming the worst and hiding their children. Mummy, what do you think happened to them? Are they performers? The matriarch quickly grabbed the child and pulled him behind her, whispering but speaking loud enough for everyone to hear. We don't associate with street urchins. Leave them be. They have foreign diseases that we can't even describe. The two walked past without so much as an acknowledgement of the woman. I hate these uptight, pompous a-holes who all have stick-ups there. A member of the duo was cut off as an automated voice repeated, "Ticket, please," while holding out its mechanical arm. There was a slot in its hand where tickets would be deposited, whereupon the robot would process the ticket and then decide on whether the ticket was valid or not. The duo took their tickets from their back pockets and took turns in depositing them. Valid. The ticket bot then gave the tickets back and went on to the next passenger, reiterating the phrase, "Tickets, please." The duo entered a further part of the train and proceeded to find a seat away from the rabble of the train. As their bodies hit the seat, one of them slumped down and sprawled herself out, while the other sat down opposite the first, sitting up straight, super alert and aware. My gosh, I can't believe that we're still alive. That was insane. Jezebel looked over at Scarlett in complete and utter bewilderment. She double checked her body just to make sure that she was still alive and that this wasn't some weird hallucination. Yeah, it's incredible we are still alive, but that was way too close for comfort. Our enemies are strong, and with new players in the game, we need to be more careful. Scarlett exclaimed whilst looking over the knives that she had left. Jezebel could tell that Scarlett was in complete contemplation. She was thinking over what would have happened if they had to face the Reapers or an Alpha again. The next encounter might not be so lucky. "Yeah, you tell her she can have my money when I'm dead and buried." Click. A random passenger came bustling into the room, or rather his guts preceded his entry. He was a stereotypical fat cat, complete with a suit that could cover someone's rent for half a year. As he took puffs of his cigar, a huge bellow of smoke reminiscent of the steam engine covered the room. Jezebel couldn't stand secondhand smoke. The smell of smoke always reminded her of her past, and the so-called men she would occupy the same airspace with. Scarlett reached out, and while not taking her eyes off the man, she opened the window. As she did this, the train let out a large bellow with the sound bouncing off the inside. The man quickly looked up at the open window and glared as if he saw a past nemesis hiding outside. Close that window. The smoke's getting out. The man wiped his brow with his tie and was getting ready to occupy a seat when Scarlett remarked, "Then leave." The man looked over at her, at first angry and annoyed, but Scarlett's expression never wavered, and so the man's facial expression quivered for a moment, changing to placid and even frightful. I'm hungry. Where's that goddamn snack bar?" The man then lumbered out of the room, almost slamming into the wall as he could barely fit through the door. Damn, you can be cold sometimes, Scar. Like, wow, that guy was having none of that, but then, who can blame him when you're pissed? The best approach is to just leave and not even try to mess with you. Jezebel laughed as she said this, and even Scarlett broke out in a smile. I just don't like annoying people, especially those who have no consideration for others. Jezebel then used this opportunity to close her eyes and rest for a bit. Immediately after, she jumped up, so quickly that even Scarlett raised an eyebrow. "Oh, I completely forgot. The goggles, the ones you gave me." Jezebel then pulled out the goggles and looked over them. She was surprised that they were still intact. Even though one of the lenses had been completely smashed, the other lens was still fine, and the goggles were still holding together. Scarlett outstretched her arm and beckoned for Jezebel to pass her the goggles. Jezebel handed them over and Scarlett surveyed them, looking melancholic, an emotion that Jezebel had never seen Scarlett show. Jezebel realised that those weren't just an ordinary pair of goggles, that they had incredible amounts of sentimentality, enough that Scarlett couldn't hold back her feelings. If you need a moment, I won't disturb you, but if you want to talk about it, I'm here as well, Jezebel said while lying down, using the seats as a makeshift bed. These goggles were my sister's. She was a Reaper as well, but she died due to my stupidity. Scarlett slowly opened the pouch that was attached to her side. She pressed a button on the side of the goggles and they mechanically contorted into a smaller device, an oval-shaped object that could fit into the side of her pouch. We both joined the Reaper Corps together, or rather, we were forced into the Corps. She was always optimistic. Scarlett smiled when she said this. She was forever faithful that we just had been dealt an extremely bad hand, and that our luck would turn around as time went on. We joined the Corps. We were put through rigorous training along with the other candidates, all resulting in us being split into different teams and forming the main teams of the Corps. I was put in Corps Team 1, the main team, and I was made the leader of Corps Team 1. My sister was deemed to be unfit for our team, so she was supposed to be in Corps Team 3. However, I pulled a few strings and got to be her opponent for the last round of her testing. She fought valiantly, but the only way for her to win was if I went easy on her. We made a pact beforehand that we'd be on the same team, that we would always be together, and I wasn't about to break that. Suffice it to say, we drew, and she was deemed worthy enough to join Corps Team 1. We managed to put on a show, falling even the Invigilators, but we didn't realise how much of a mistake that was. Scarlett stopped here for a moment and looked out of the window. Her eyes were tearing up. Jezebel thought she looked like a picture of melancholy and anguish. Eventually, Scarlett composed herself and carried on. On our first proper mission out, we came face to face with a daemon. My sister had been training relentlessly to ensure that she could keep up with the team. Her speed, stamina, dexterity and hand-to-hand combat had greatly improved, and no one could doubt that in those fields she had a rightful place on our team. However, to compensate, she had neglected her mental training, and we didn't realise just how dangerous our opponents were until it was too late. We came face to face with an Alpha Daemon. Nowhere near as strong as the one we faced in the facility, but still extremely powerful. It immediately tried to control us, but the team's mental fortitude was strong. Well, all except my sister's. She couldn't resist the creature, and before I had time to react, the creature appeared in front of my sister and thrust its claws straight through her chest, killing her instantly. I screamed in rage as the monster tore my sister in half, and the rest I can't fully remember. I just saw red, and when I came to, my team were in the periphery, seemingly too afraid to move, and the creature was a bloody mess at my feet. Bits of the creature were sprawled all over, as if a wild animal had been let loose on raw meat. My sister was untouched, and I ran to her, trying to put her back together, but it was no good. She was gone. After that, I swore to never let innocence fall victim to my stupidity again, and to just do things myself, only subjecting myself to the horrors of this world. All this to try and live on, my sister's wish of a forever faith for a better future. A single tear fell from Scarlett's cheek as she recounted the story, and Jezebel looked on in sadness, not knowing what to say to such a heartbreaking tale. Scarlett then wiped away the tear and looked up, saying, "What's done is done. We can't go back in time and change the past. I'm sure I'm not the only one who realises that the past can be a bitch, but hey, if it wasn't, then there wouldn't be much to look forward to, would there?" Jezebel was also wiping away her tears and acknowledged Scarlett with a smile that said, "We're in this together." "Where are we going anyway? Weren't we supposed to be going to see Max and the others?" Jezebel remarked. "We are, but first we need to visit an old friend. It doesn't seem like this will be just a battle. It seems like a war is coming, so we will need our own army," Scarlett replied, before holding up her hand to Jezebel. "What's up?" Jezebel asked. "Shh, we have company," Scarlett responded. The two girls listened intently, and could make out an individual who had boarded the train, someone who the two girls did not want to see. How did they know we'll be here? Jezebel said while sitting up and putting her hand on her weapon. They probably don't. This could be a routine check. Or those 2 Reapers we took on might have put in a call to be on the lookout for 2 girls travelling together. Scarlett replied while keeping one eye on the door and a hand on the hidden blade. They could hear the footsteps of Reaper boots marching down the train, opening and examining every cabin. With each step, the footsteps got closer, and with more intensity, as the last cabin was reached. Their cabin. The individual then thrust open the door, only to find an open window there to greet him, and 2 empty seats. "Why the hell do we always have to run?" Jezebel shouted. "Well, if you want to go back there and face them, be my guest, but I'm not about to give my life to them again, because I know what they'll do if they find us on that train," Scarlett called back. "Besides, it's easier this way to get to where we need to go," Scarlett added. As she said this, the distant sound of the Reaper call could be heard, ushering everyone off the train for inspection. The 2 girls ran into a back alley, ducking and weaving past obstacles and people's windows, moving like 2 silent shadows in the night. Eventually they reached a big open area with one solitary house in the middle. Jezebel looked at the house in wonder and amazement. It was a house that could rival the grandeur of Skaith's house. "Whoa, someone's living large, eh? Damn, wouldn't it be nice to come home after a hard day's work at Daddy's company to a house like this?" Jezebel remarked as she looked over the house and watched the many groundskeepers running around, tending to many menial tasks. It seems he hasn't started yet. I thought I told him how important this was," Scarlett said as she looked around for the one she was talking about. "Who are you talking about, Scar?" Jezebel replied. But before Scarlett could say anything, a voice, loud and proud, carried its way over to them. And that brings chapter 12 of this story to an end. I hope you have all been enjoying the series. Again, I know it's been a while since I've released anything new for the series, but now with this episode, it's going to be consistent uploads again, so we'll keep going through the story. So like many residents of Regalion, Scarlett's past is a dark one. Losing her sister in such a way is enough to break anyone. But for Scarlett, she uses that loss, sadness, and anger to fuel her to be stronger, to protect those who cannot protect themselves. With Jezebel at her side, it gives Scarlett hope for the future, and hope that she can spare someone else from the fate of her sister. What do you think of Scarlett's story? And what do you think of the story so far? Scarlett has some very powerful allies, as we'll see in the next episode. And with what's about to come, they will need all the help they can get. As you see in this video as well, I'm also trialing something different. So one of the things that I love doing in my spare time, and something that I've done most of my life, as a lot of people do, is play video games. And I decided I wanted to combine video games along with the stories that I tell, so you can sort of have a chill game playing in the background while you're listening to the story. I figured that might be better because a lot of the art that I used before for the videos that I was making was AI art, which I don't think is too bad, but at the same time I wanted to sort of just trial something different, because as a creative person myself, you know, using AI art rather than an actual artist, it always didn't really sit the best with me. So now with starting the channel again, I wanted to sort of take a different approach in how I did things. So hopefully, you know, instead of just having more cozy gameplay in the background as you're listening to a nice story, might be better, but we'll see. But let me know. But anyway, until then, I hope you have all sufficiently warmed up and that this story has brought you some level of comfort. I wish you safe travels on the journey of life, and feel free, as always, to come back again whenever you need a new story to warm your day.